Joel on true, fellow captains and admirals. My name is Jerry from the Antares Shipyard, and I am back after a small hiatus to bring you guys new content for Attack Wing and Star Trek in general. We're going to be starting a new series here. This is called Too Boldly Build. It's going to be in a new, shorter video format. In this series, we are going to explore and look at ships inside of fleets and see exactly what their builds look like and how to use them, and hopefully give you guys some ideas on ships to use in your future fleets. So the ship we're going to be looking at today is called the Reverse Galaxy class. It is something that I have run in a couple of events. Something that I find very fun. It's not really a competitive build, but it is fun to put on the board. So the main reason I built this ship is because the Galaxy dial is not great. It doesn't really give it too much maneuverability. It's hard to get ships to stay inside of your firing arcs, but I sat down and really looked at how to fix that problem outside of using a lot of cheese movement cards like Forest or this or that, and there's nothing wrong with those cards. I just wanted to figure out a different way. So I came up with the thought of, well, why don't we just fly the Galaxy class backwards, in reverse? So when you bring this to the table, you actually set it up facing you. You face it backwards in your starting area. So the front arc is pointed towards you and your rear arc is pointed towards your opponent. And to me, this is awesome because it plays a little bit of a psychological game, especially if your opponent hasn't seen a trick like that before. But we'll definitely dive into that here more. But first, let's take a look at the cards that come with this build. Alright, to run this build, you will need a Galaxy class. I chose the USS Odyssey. We have Captain Tim Waters, Comm Station, Photon Torpedoes, Kalana, Montgomery Scott, Helmsman, and the Emergency Medical Hologram. So the first card we're going to take a closer look at is the USS Odyssey. It is a 4154 tech weapon, 3 crew slots, which is crucial for this build. Coming in at 26 SP, makes it one of the cheaper Galaxy classes out there that are named. I chose to go with a named Galaxy class, not really for the ability here, but because it brings an extra shield token. But the ability is also a nice plus, because you cannot use this ship on its own. It really needs to have support ships. So for those support ships, you can use this free action here. It says free action, place an aux power token beside this ship and target all Federation ships with a hull value of 3 or less within range 1 to 2. The target ships will roll +2 defense dice and may convert 1 blank into 1 battle station the next time they defend this game round. So why not build some support ships that can make use of the Odyssey's ability? So the next card we're going to talk about here is the Captain, which is Tim Waters. He comes from the USS Valiant pack. Coming in at skill 4, but he adds 1 crew upgrade to your upgrade bar. So we're talking 4 crew upgrades now. And the action is pretty crucial for this build, and we'll talk about the action economy here in a little bit. But the action is to remove all disabled upgrade tokens from all of your crew upgrades. Alright, and so because Tim Waters is such a low captain skill, this next card is really needed. It is Comm Station. It comes from the USS Grissom pack. And this card is assuming that you have a support ship in your fleet that's got a high captain skill. So you can do this card's ability. So again, we've got another crew slot being added. So grand total of 5 crew slots for this build. Activation phase. Disable this card and target a friendly ship. This game round, replace the captain skill of this ship's captain with a captain skill of the target ship's captain. It's range 1 to 2. So you put a high skill captain on a friendly support vessel. Now you can make Tim Waters also that captain skill. Tim Waters will still move at a captain skill 4, but then he'll attack at a captain skill, X, whatever the highest captain is. So the next card here is another card that I like to put in. This is Photon Torpedoes, but it comes from the Ferengi faction pack. So it is a forward rear arc weapon. The attack value of this weapon is the ship's primary weapon value. So it is a 4 dice attack, but the range 1 to 3 is what really boosts the card for me. because you may be in a situation where you overestimated your move and the enemy is too close to you. This card still allows you to fire at range 1 through your rear arc. So attack, place 2 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship. Place an aux power token besides the target ship. That part is also a bonus because you give your enemy, your opponent's ship, an aux power token. Now you limit their movements for the next turn. They can't make any red moves. They can do white, but they won't get an action. Or they can do a green maneuver, which won't put them very far away from you. And they still, you can make sure that they're in your front firing arc at that point. The whole point of the build is to have your enemy fly past you, so then they're all of a sudden in your front firing arc and you can get chased that way. So if we're going to have Photon Torpedoes with time tokens, we also need to have Kolana here from the Blood Oath faction pack. So when one or more time tokens would be placed on a weapon upgrade equipped to the ship, place 1 fewer tokens. Of course, the second part of the text doesn't really pertain to us, but this place 1 fewer time tokens, perfect for Photon Torpedoes with those 2 time tokens, because now you reduce it to 1, and it gets cleared at the end phase, so now you can fire those Photon Torpedoes every round. And take note that those Photon Torpedoes did not require a target lock. Alright, so another card that is kind of needed for this build is Montgomery Scott. I believe this is the Enterprise A version. So you add 1 upgrade slot to your upgrade bar. This will be a tech or a weapon. At any time, you may disable this card to remove an auxiliary power token from beside your ship. So Mr. Scott helps you get rid of that aux power from that red reverse 1 or 2 that you just did, but you have to pay for a disable token on him. And again, we'll get to the action economy here in a second. Another crew card that is required for this build is Helmsman. So activation phase, when the ship's maneuver is revealed, disable this card. Increase or decrease this maneuver speed by 1, even if this results in a maneuver that does not appear on the ship's maneuver dial. Again, Helmsman is from the Alliance Part 1 set. This gives you some kind of flexibility, so now you can make your 2 red reverse a 3 red reverse, or a 1 red reverse, but you cannot take your red 1 reverse and make it a 0. So the move still has to have a template and it still has to exist, it just doesn't have to be on the dial. And a 0 move does not exist in Attack Wing. So again, this is another disabled card, so at the activation phase, when you reveal your maneuver, you disable him, be like, nope, we're going ahead, we're going reverse 3. So the next card, the next piece of this build is the Emergency Medical Hologram, and this is from the USS Equinox. So this is the evil Emergency Medical Hologram, the one that had all of his ethics subroutines removed. This upgrade counts as either a crew upgrade or a tech upgrade, your choice. That's a very important line there. A lot of these question cards come and they say, this upgrade may fill a slot. This one says counts. That means when you put this card in one of those 2 slots, it changes from a question card to a crew upgrade or a tech upgrade. In this case, Emergency Medical Hologram is living in a crew slot, so now this is a crew card. When you use a tech upgrade that requires you to disable it, you may disable this card instead of that tech upgrade. So thinking back to Comm Station, when you use that activation phase action, or activation phase effect, you don't disable Comm Station anymore. Now you disable Emergency Medical Hologram instead. So let's talk about action economy real quick. So you're going to move. First thing you're going to do before you reveal your dial is you're going to disable Comm Station to target a friendly ship and change Tim Waters' captain skill to, let's for example say captain skill 10. Okay, so now instead of disabling Comm Station, you disable Emergency Medical Hologram. Now you reveal your dial. It is a red reverse 2. You say, hey, I'm going to move this, we're going to increase this maneuver by 1 using Helmsman. So you disable Helmsman to make it a reverse red 3. And at that point, then you disable Mr. Scott to make sure you don't take that aux power token. And then for your action after you make the move, you're going to use Tim Waters' action to take the disabled token off Montgomery Scott, off of Helmsman, and off of emergency medical hologram. So now you're all set up to do it again, and you don't need a target lock for the Photon Torpedoes from the Ferengi faction pack to fire. So you are all set up and ready to go for the next round. Of course, you can have a support ship like the USS Intrepid give you tokens, etc., etc. So this is pretty much the reverse galaxy build. This is the bare bones build. There's some points freed up here for you to continue building with. And please, in the comments, put what you would add here, what you would take away, how you would use this ship in a build, if you're going to use it. I would love to hear everything. And also, consider giving the channel a subscribe, giving the video a like if you want to see more content like this. I've got a couple more builds planned, and we're actually going to head over to the wheel to see what the next build will be that I will highlight. But again, please feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section about how you would build this if you're going to use it. And let's get over to the wheel. Alright, so we're going to spin this wheel, and whatever it lands on next will be the build that I will do for my next video. We got a couple of different builds here. A lot of them I have either played or have played against. Alright, it looks like we'll be playing against the Enhanced Aggression build. That is an ISS Avenger type build. So that'll be a fun one to cover. Alright, thank you everybody, and I hope you have a good night.